Does any board member wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Does any board member wish to...
If I can
Sure.
just make
I know there was some
a comment
concern with some items.
on item 11B. Ms. Ricciardi, you don't want to remove that item from 11B?
No, I don't want to remove it because I still have some questions about it, but I would like to discuss.
Well, let's wait till we get to this, the discussion
Okay,
portion.
I was waiting.
Yep, we'll look to, so we removed item 11B.
No, I didn't need it removed.
She didn't remove it.
Did you?
Nope.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to remove that item.
Okay. Item 11B will be removed. Could I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 10 through,
I think it's 11.
excuse me, yes, 11 through 16 with 11B being the exception. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 11B. Have a motion.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to discuss, please. So moving forward, I think the APP process has, I don't know. I don't know if it's evolved or it's going in the wrong direction.
Mrs. Richards, just so people at home know, the APP process gives middle school students, middle school student athletes who are exceptional at what they do, the ability to compete at a higher level with high school students, whether it be junior varsity or varsity.
Correct. And exceptional is the key word there. As a matter of fact, our policy 5280 expressly says the students should be exceptional. So the APP, and this is from the New York State Education Department, it's stated, the APP is not to be used to fill positions on teams, provide additional experience, provide an opportunity for middle school or junior high students when no modified program is offered. The APP protocol is to allow for, again, the exceptional student. So with that in mind, I feel every season the number of students that are going through this APP process is increasing. And my fear is that this is going to be taking away from the older students. And our sophomores, juniors, seniors won't have as much opportunity. As it is, the students that are moved up, for instance, have to have 50% playtime on the field. That takes away from playtime of older students. So when I hear exceptional...
I don't believe they have to have a 50% playtime at the varsity level.
They do. That's part of the New York State requirement. I'm sorry, now I lost my train of thought. So to me, an exceptional student, and I'm not saying that these aren't amazing athletes and they all work really hard and they might be very, very talented, but Comenici, Ronaldo, these are exceptional athletes. So I just think moving forward, we should possibly take a closer look at this whole process.
Okay, can I just speak?
I just had a quick question. Do you have any specific concerns because you've gone now through 5 seasons and we've approved many student athletes, and this is the first time you're bringing a
Matt,
concern?
if you can just allow me to speak here.
Please.
Thank you. In full disclosure, because I'm required to fully disclose this, today was going to be a really exciting night for me and my family. Tonight we're approving my son, who's a 7th grader, to be able to swim varsity on the varsity team. Mr. Ricciardi, on September 13th of this year, of 2022, you approved one 7th grader. On August 30th, 2022, you approved one 7th grader. On July 19th, 2022, you approved 2 7th graders. On November 9th, 2021, you approved one 7th grader. And on 9/14/2021, you approved 9 7th graders. That's 14 7th graders that you've approved since you've been on the board. You have never once not during any one of those 14 people that you approved, you have never once demanded to see their APP test scores, as you have my son today. You have never once demanded to summon the athletic director here to executive session to speak to them about approval of a 7th grader, as you have today. You have never once asked or emailed. You emailed the athletic director today to discuss my son. I'm speaking. Not only is that inappropriate in of itself, but you're talking about my son. I'll tell you about my son, since you emailed the athletic director about him, okay? My son, since he was 12 weeks old, has been in swimming lessons. At 6 years old, he started in competitions. He's been in competitions since that time, continuously. He swims year-round. In June of this year, when he indicated to me that he wanted to try out for varsity swimming, he said to me, let's look at what the requirements are. So we looked up the requirements, and what did I do? We enrolled him in a gym. And every week since June, he's been working with a personal trainer in order to pass that APP test. He comes home, he works, he does his push-ups, he does his pull-ups, he does his sit-ups, he goes out in the street and we time him doing his shuttle run. He does that at the gym. My son is exceptional, even if you don't want to admit it, okay? And I'm very, very proud of the work that he has done. Now, your intent is extremely, extremely obvious, right? You're trying to use my 12-year-old son, our student, I'm finishing. Our student, you've never brought this stuff up before. You have never brought this stuff up before. But as soon as it's my son that's on the agenda, all of this stuff becomes an issue. And that's because you don't like me. And that's exactly why all of a sudden 14 people are approved. And now it's an issue to you, right? Anybody who thinks, who uses a child to further a vendetta against somebody is a horrible, horrible person. And I thank God
Mike, that's harsh.
we have enough
That's
people
harsh,
here,
Mike.
that we have enough people here to vote my son through, so I don't have to go home tonight and tell my son that he wasn't through because somebody doesn't like me.
Okay, Mike, this has nothing to do with you or your son. Did I once today mention your child? Not once. All right? So the agenda came up. I finally got to review it last night. And you went back and looked at all my votes on the APP. You counted them all up. Did you count how many were at each vote? Because my point is the number seems to be increasing. The number. I did not once mention you or your child. Congratulations for your child on his hard work. That's wonderful. Good for him. And maybe he is exceptional. If he is, that's fantastic. I simply brought up that I think this process needs to be looked at, all right, because the numbers are increasing. And how dare you call me a horrible person, Mike? That is just out of line, inappropriate, and uncalled for.
Mrs.
You have a
Ricciardi,
concern about APP. You have a concern about APP, but you mentioned swimming and not track. There was 5 students today. The only ones that you mentioned were swimming.
That was because they were the only 7th graders, and I hadn't looked back and seen in the past were they 7th graders or 8th graders.
Our role as board members, right? Our role is to oversee the superintendent, to set policy. We don't question, when we come up every week at a board meeting, we have students that are for our approval to get special education services, costing the district a lot of money, and if they need programs to support them, then that's what we do. But at no time do we go to Mr. Helms and say, I would like to see scores, I would like to see testing, I would see what their present level of performance is. It is not our role. We can ask about an overview. We cannot ask about specific children, whether they're on the board or within our community.
Nobody asked about specific children. Let's be clear.
No, you asked in the email for his score.
I did not ask about a specific child. I didn't.
You asked for his score, and that was on the presentation tonight. That's accurate, Karen.
I never once mentioned anyone's name or any individual child.
Mrs. Ricciardi, it was a thinly
And there is
veiled-
nothing wrong with
it was
trying
a
to
thinly
verify
veiled
when you're
attack at
dealing with
somebody else's
oversight.
children. Children, family members are off limits.
Can we-
You should know that.
Oh, you
Everybody
wanna
should know
talk
that.
about families being
Especially-
off limits?
Especially in
Matt,
your capacity
please.
as a board member.
Okay,
It's horrible.
Matt, let's
Mrs.
stop.
Murphy, you
If
can't
have-
justify
no,
what's
I'm not-
been done. It's
Matt,
pretty despicable.
Matt,
Okay, going
I
after
am
somebody
asking
else's
you to
child
not
is
pass
about as
your
low as it
judgment.
gets.
I'm asking all of us.
I know what I heard, I know what I read.
So then why didn't you just take care of it on a personal level via
Thank
email
you,
then?
Stacy.
It could have just been done privately. She emailed it privately. It could have been done privately. So we can all make our tally marks, and now let's move on to the next item.
If I could just bring to everyone's attention, Dr.
Please,
Secor
Dr.
has a
Secor.
raised hand on the screen.
Dr. Simmons, please.
Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Secor.
if I may, I just want to ensure everyone, the board and the community, that we are following the app process set forth by the State Education Department and approved by Section 11. And when students do pass through that process and do the tasks that are asked of them, we're duty bound to allow them these opportunities.
Mr. Catalanato, I know your son, and not only is he an exceptional athlete, he's an even better, outstanding person. You should be proud of your son.
Nobody wants anybody being called a racist. Again, we believe in diversity and inclusion, and there's just no room for anything other in the district. So, thank you. Nobody wants anybody being called a racist. Again, we believe in diversity and inclusion, and there's just no room for anything other in the district. So, thank you. Nobody wants anybody being called a racist. Again, we believe in diversity and inclusion, and there's just no room for anything other in the district. So, thank you.